My name is Sarah Chen, and I used to believe that good work spoke for itself. I was wrong. I started at Meridian Tech 7 years ago. I was 26, hungry, and naive. My manager was David Winters. He was charming in meetings, confident, strategic, well-liked. He also had no idea how to actually build anything. The first project he assigned me was a disaster. The client's system was bleeding data. Nobody knew why. I spent 3 weeks reverse engineering their entire architecture, found the vulnerability, built the fix, wrote the documentation. David presented it in the board meeting. I identified the architectural weakness, he said. Then architect the solution. My name wasn't mentioned once. I didn't say anything. I told myself it was politics. I didn't understand politics yet. Then it happened again, and again, and again. By year 3, I wasn't even surprised anymore. That's how you know something's broken. When you stop being shocked by disrespect. David got promoted. I got a desk next to his new office. I watched him walk past me every morning, and I knew he couldn't survive one day without my work, but I didn't know what to do about it. The breaking point wasn't one moment. It was 1,000 moments stacking up. But there was one specific day. The Greystone account, biggest client we'd ever landed. $3 million contract. They needed a custom platform built in 8 months. Impossible timeline. David promised it anyway. Then he assigned it to me, alone. No team, no overtime budget, no support. I built that platform. 90-hour weeks for 8 months straight. I missed my sister's wedding. I missed my dad's birthday. I watched my relationship collapse because I wasn't present for anything, but I delivered. The platform was flawless. The client loved it. The board wanted a presentation on how we pulled it off. David presented it as his vision. I designed a revolutionary approach to modular architecture, he said. The slides had my technical diagrams, my code samples, my performance metrics, but my name wasn't on them. And when the board asked specific technical questions, David couldn't answer them. He kept saying, "That's proprietary," and moving on. I was sitting in the back row. I could have corrected him. I didn't. That was the moment I realized something. I wasn't staying quiet to be professional. I was staying quiet because I was scared. Scared that if I said something, he'd retaliate. Scared I'd look difficult. Scared I'd damage my own career. So I sat there, watching him take credit, watching him win, and I felt something shift inside me. Not anger, something quieter, something colder, something that felt like clarity. Have you ever realized that silence was costing you more than the truth would? That's when the pattern became visible. And once you see a pattern, you can't unsee it. I started paying attention, really paying attention. David did this with everyone. New hire named Marcus. David took his code and presented it as team output. Designer named Lisa. Her concepts became his vision. I watched him do this for years, and I realized something else. David wasn't just taking credit. He was gaslighting us about it. When Marcus pushed back once, David said, "I was leading the project. Of course I presented it." When Lisa asked why her name wasn't on her own designs, he said, "You're not client-facing. You wouldn't understand the dynamics." He made us feel crazy for noticing. That's the real skill narcissists have. Not the charm, not the manipulation. It's the ability to make you doubt your own reality. And I realized I'd spent 7 years doubting myself. 7 years believing that maybe I wasn't actually good at this. Maybe I was just lucky. Maybe David was right. Maybe I didn't deserve credit. I was drowning in self-doubt that he'd systematically drowned me in. And then one day, I stopped drowning. I just stopped. I realized that being nice wasn't protecting me anymore. It was protecting him. My silence wasn't professionalism. It was a complicity in my own erasure. Something shifted that day. It wasn't rage. Rage would have made me stupid. It was something much colder, strategic, clear-eyed. I decided to stop being invisible, but not the way he'd expect. I didn't confront him. I didn't cry in the bathroom. I didn't leak anything or sabotage anything. I just started documenting carefully, legally, completely, every email I sent him with my work attached. Every timestamp showing when I created something. Every version history shows the evolution of projects. Every conversation where I'd explained technical solutions he later presented as his own. Every code commit with my name on it. I created a folder. I called it Project Archive. Completely boring. Completely professional. I gathered evidence for 6 months. Not aggressively. Just systematically, like I was doing my job, because I was. During this time, something else happened. The board was paying attention, more than David realized. Our CEO, Rachel Morrison, started asking questions. She noticed patterns. Client feedback mentioned my name specifically. Technical documentation traced back to my email. Code repositories showed my commits. Rachel wasn't stupid. She was watching. She was waiting. She was gathering evidence too. One day, she pulled me into her office. "Tell me about the Greystone platform," she said. I didn't lie. I didn't exaggerate. I just told the truth. Who designed it? Who built it? Who tested it? Who presented it? Rachel listened. Then she said, "I know." Those 2 words changed everything. "We've been tracking this for 18 months, she continued. "The pattern is clear. The documentation is clear. The code is clear. But I wanted to be absolutely certain before we acted. Are you ready to present your work directly to the board?" I felt my heart stop and start again. "Yes," I said. "I'm ready." 2 weeks later, the board called a special meeting. Quarterly Technical Innovation Review, the agenda said. Completely routine. Completely unsuspicious. I prepped like I'd never prepped for anything in my life. Not because I was nervous about the work. I knew my work. I lived my work. I prepped because I understood what this moment actually was. This was the moment everything changed, or nothing did. The meeting started normally. Rachel opened with updates. Then she said, "We want to review the Greystone platform architecture, directly with the engineer who built it." She looked at David. "Sarah will be presenting today." I watched his face. He didn't understand yet. He thought this was routine. He thought I was presenting to him. Until I started talking, and the slides showed the commit history, and the version control, and the email trails, and the technical depth nobody could fake. I answered every question perfectly, because I'd built every part of it. The board asked technical questions designed to probe exactly where the innovation happened. I didn't hesitate. I didn't check notes. I knew. Because I'd invented it. When it was over, the room was silent. Then Rachel said, "Thank you, Sarah. You can step out for a moment." I did. 20 minutes later, I was called back in. David's chair was empty. Rachel looked directly at me. "David Winters has been terminated effective immediately. His severance includes a non-disparagement clause. He will not be discussing his departure with clients or staff. We'd like to discuss a new role for you. VP of Engineering. Reporting directly to me, starting immediately." The words didn't feel real. Then they did. Then they didn't again. I wanted to scream, to cry, to call everyone and prove them wrong. But I just sat there, breathing, letting it sink in. The weight lifted, slowly at first, then all at once. David's exit was sudden enough that it shocked everyone. The official statement was, "Pursuing other opportunities." Nobody believed it. The real story spread through the company in hours. Not because anyone told it directly, but because people are smart. Greystone found out their actual architect had been someone else the entire time. They called immediately, asked if I could join a meeting about their next phase. They wanted to work with me directly, not with anyone else. That was worth $500,000 to the company. David's wife found out about the termination from the severance paperwork. She apparently didn't take it well. He spent 2 weeks sending emails to HR claiming he'd been railroaded. The emails were forwarded to Rachel. She printed them out, put them on my desk. "For your files," she said. Nobody believed him. Everyone knew. They'd watched it happen. He'd gotten away with it for so long that watching accountability finally arrive was shocking. He'd convinced himself he was untouchable. That's always the mistake people like him make. They get so comfortable with the lie that they forget the truth is still there, waiting. My first 6 months as VP were weird. I had David's office now. I tried to redesign it, get rid of his energy. It took longer than I expected. Not because of the office, because of me, because I realized I didn't actually know who I was outside of survival mode. For 7 years, I'd been in crisis, protecting myself, documenting, hiding. Now the crisis was over, and I had to figure out what came next. I promoted Marcus, the guy David had stolen code from. I created a design team around Lisa, made sure her work had her name on it, credited her publicly. I changed the culture of that entire department. No hidden contributions, no uncredited presentations. Your work is your name. Your name is your work. People flourished once they felt safe. I also set boundaries with my family, with my friends. People who'd watched me disappear for 8 months and never asked why. Some of those relationships didn't survive the boundary setting. That was okay. I learned that being respected required expecting respect. It wasn't something people naturally gave you. It was something you had to demand, and then accept nothing less. People ask me if I regret staying silent for so long. I don't. Not really. Silence taught me something David never learned. It taught me that patience isn't weakness. Patience is strategy. Patience is documenting the truth while someone else is burying themselves in lies. The irony is that David's downfall wasn't my revenge. It was his own arrogance. He assumed nobody was paying attention. He assumed I'd stay quiet forever. He created his own ending. I just didn't stop. He never realized the truth was already in motion. That the board had been watching all along. That his arrogance had written the ending for him. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop protecting someone from the consequences of their own choices. I used to believe that loyalty was about silence, that being a good person meant swallowing disrespect, turning the other cheek, never making waves. I don't believe that anymore. Loyalty is about truth, about building people up instead of tearing them down, about crediting the people who did the work, about respecting the work itself. David couldn't do any of those things. So his empire collapsed under its own hollow weight, and I rebuilt mine on something solid, on evidence, in truth, on my actual capability, not on somebody else's willingness to believe in me, on my own willingness to demand acknowledgement. That's the real nuclear option, not revenge. Integrity. Sometimes they look the same from the outside, but from the inside, they feel completely different. One destroys you. The other sets you free. If you're still protecting someone from the truth about themselves right now, that moment is when everything changes. Share what happens when you stop. Someone reading this needs that reminder today. The truth didn't destroy him, it revealed him.